Hey family, how y'all doing tonight? We're back with you again with a brand new episode. This episode is coined the fire episode. Now many of y'all have different definitions for fire, but we're going to only go with one tonight. So sometimes passion can be synonymous with fire. My three guests that I have on tonight, they have a fire that's in them in order to get their voices heard by the world. I mean, three dynamic young ladies that'll be joining us here tonight. What I'd like for you all to gain from it is, look, all of these people that are coming in, they're gonna have dynamic and diverse stories. Just pay attention to it. See if you can learn something from it. But what we'll do, and we'll come back from our first commercial break, we'll bring on our first illustrious guest. You're tuned in with World Views with Ken Mills on Boss Up Houston Network.
Wanna be a boss? You're watching Boss Up Houston Network. It's Boss Up Houston, where we look up, stay up, and boss up.
And we're back. So, before we get started here, I need to introduce this young lady sitting to my left. From the first time I ever heard her tell a joke or been in her presence, I knew it was something special about her. She has a different way of telling you an ageless story. And I mean, it's brand new once it comes out. She's on her way throughout the comedy world, but we have her here tonight. I'm introducing here Sharelle.
How y'all doing?
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Ken?
All right. So, Sharelle, kind of take us back on this, before this journey. Like, where did you come from?
Well, I grew up on the southwest side. I went to Fondren Middle School, and we grew up, up and down Fondren. We were in several different apartments and things like that. So that's where we basically ended up, and we ended up moving to the west side of Houston over the course of the years. I'm the sixth child of six. I'm the baby and everything, and everybody would always tell me all the time, like, you're so funny, and things like that. And I love putting smiles on people's faces. You know what I mean? I'd rather be remembered like that, to be able to make a person's day.
So, you talk about the Southwest back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So, we talking about like Sandpiper, West Airport, Belford, all up and through there.
All up and through there, up and down Fondren, basically. When Tiffany Place was Tiffany Place,
yeah,
we lived there.
Okay. Yeah, because I too lived on that side. I was on West Airport down there by Bob White on the other side of Greenhouse Patio.
Oh, my aunt used to live in Greenhouse Patio.
Yeah. But, so you say everybody, every time you tell a joke, they like, man, she funny. Mm-hmm. So what brought you to a point to just say, hey, I'm just going to go after him?
Well, see, my family members and things like that would always tell me, like my aunt, she would be like, oh my God, you're so funny. And she would tell my mama. My mama used to always be like, well, I want to laugh, but I I didn't feel like I could be myself, because I didn't have a filter.
Right.
And my mama didn't play that. So,
right.
I had some people in my life that pushed me. And last year on my birthday, I had turned 37 years old, and my boyfriend ended up taking me to the Improv. And he kind of pushed me on the stage, and him and a best friend of mine was pushing me to just go and was telling me to do it. And I continue to do it, and I love it because it's an outlet for me now. So I hold my filter in until I get on the stage. And, I just let it go on the stage, just be myself. Because I used to always think that things that came out of my mouth, people would judge me.
Right.
But I'm really saying what people were thinking, but they wouldn't say. Right. And so once a lot of people started telling me that, that's when I started being like, when I can be myself. I mean, people are going to love me, and the people who don't, that's fine, because no one is liked in the world by everybody.
Right.
You know, so I just chose to be myself. And I mean, hey, if you accept it, you do. And if you don't, that's fine as well.
So I'm here to tell you that a lot of people do accept it. I know for a fact. I've been privy to see you on stage a multitude of times, and every time it's like a element of surprise because they don't expect that to come from you.
Not at all.
So some of the stories and some of the jokes that you tell are family based, correct?
Correct.
All right. So tell me, what is one of your favorite ones that you like to tell and the family member that it's about?
Well, I like to talk about ugly kids. Is what I like to talk about. Because, you know, people don't always want to tell your child ugly, you know.
Right.
So that's one of the things. Because somebody has somebody ugly in their family. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm not trying to talk about my own family. It's just some people funny looking, you know. So I just kind of just like joking about it and stuff because people would never do that because they're kids. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, it's just some stuff I like to touch on. Different things like that. Fathers and absent fathers who are there. Just different things that I know people can relate to, you know?
Okay. Now, what have been some of your obstacles in order to get your voice heard? I know you started the improv, but
After I left the improv, I went and I went to Carrington's and I met Cliff and everything, and he gave me an opportunity to, you know, bless his stage and things like that. And when I saw the feedback that I was getting, I was like, okay, you know, I want to keep doing it because I felt more comfortable with it. And then I started getting more knowledge about different comedy clubs and open mics that are here in Houston that I knew nothing about. You know, and so ever since then, it's like I also had you in my ear as well, pushing me. And the minute you saw something, it's like you basically, you know, I was a person that you thought of, and I appreciate that, you know. And ever since then, it's like every show that I do, I have somebody booking me for something, and I'm just grateful and thankful. Like this is something that I would love to do because I always wanted to know what was my calling. You know, I know I'll go to work and everything, but I'm not really doing what I want to do. I want to do comedy, you know what I mean? So I feel like anything that is a goal for you or something that you would like to do that you feel like it's easy for you to do, why not do something that you love?
So what are some of your comedic influences?
Well, I love Adele Givens because everybody always told me that I reminded them of her, me of her, or whatever. And I also I liked Ricky Smiley because he used to do Lil Daryl and he used to have me crying, laughing all the time. But Adele Givens definitely is somebody that she's an idol of mine. I would love to meet her, and yeah, I definitely idol her. I do. I idolize her.
So what piece of Adele Givens do you find the most fond?
Well, she just doesn't have a filter like I do. She just says, it just seems like she says whatever and it's genuine. I can relate. You know what I mean? She has this big bright smile. You know, I have a big bright smile. I started looking at her page and looking at her different her shows and things like that, and I kind of took notes and things like that because I was just like, okay, I like her. You know, from years ago. You know.
Okay. So what are your aspirations now? Since you are getting booked and you doing different shows, well, what are your aspirations?
I just would like to put my face out there, keep my name out there, and become known, to grow as a comic, and you know, just take notes and just learn and just take it as I want it to be my baby. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I just would like to just be successful, you know, as a comedian.
Right. And what are some of the different ways that you feel that you can attain that success?
Continuing to, for one, I'm gonna put God first, you know, and I'm gonna allow Him to order my steps because if it's for me, it's for me, you know. Second of all, you know, just being cautious and aware, you know, what I'm getting myself into because it's all new to me, so I really don't know what to expect. I do plan on to continue to get booked, to continue to put my name out there, and hopefully travel one day, and you know, just go out there and just make the people laugh. That's all I want to do.
So if you had a dream show, what would be your lineup?
Okay, so it would be me, Adele, some more, and it would be Mike Epps. It definitely would be Mike Epps, not Kevin Hart. But those four for sure, you know, I definitely would have a good time in the lineup with those four for sure.
So I heard you mention Samoa and Mike Epps. Kind of go in on Mike Epps. Like, what is it about his comedy that fascinates you?
Mike Epps is goofy. So he just does certain things that makes me laugh so much. It's like the way he says things, the way he does his voice when he says things. It's just, for sometimes it's so natural. Because I have a brother that's goofy like that. You know, he would always make me laugh. You know, he's like, I don't know. It's relatable. I love his comic. I love the things that he do to make me laugh and everything.
So, what is your support system as you go along this journey? Like, who are some of the people that are helping you along?
For sure, I'm gonna say my man. Because any show that I've had from the very beginning, he was there. If he could be there, he was there. He was there when I wasn't expecting him to be there. You know what I mean? So I definitely can say that it was a blessing for me to have him come along, because he kind of showed me different things about myself to kind of help me grow. And, like I say, I would always make my best friend laugh all the time, and she would record me and things like that. And then I would go back and look at whatever. I'm like, I be saying some crazy stuff, I definitely have a very support. I have the best support team to me, because they're positive. They're not going to care what I think about anything. They're going to give it to me straight. And sometimes I hate it, but it has helped me grow within a year span, and once I begin to see my growth and my potential, that's what helped me push myself a little bit more.
Okay. And I can attest to that, because your gentleman, when I first met you, he was your security and everything. But once he learned who I was, he was like, come on in.
He was cool, yeah. He had to feel you out.
Come on in.
Yeah.
But, that's beautiful. So, you're also a mother, correct?
I am. I'm a mother of 4.
Okay. So, how do the children feel about their mother being there?
I don't think that my 2 oldest ones, because I have a 20-year-old and an 18-year-old, I don't think they really take me serious. They like, oh, mama, because I've been joking with them for years. This is just a regular day for them. Right. So they won't believe it until they actually see, And then I have my youngest. I have a son who's 11, and I have a daughter who's 7 years old. They of course, they don't really understand right now and things like that. But I'm pretty sure, the more I get booked and the more I put myself out there and things like that, they're on that journey with me along the way. And I have all of my kids have some of my personality. You know what I mean? So they're pretty funny too. They have little characters to themselves. My son more laid back, he's quiet, but my daughters are like definitely very funny, and I can see a piece of me in each one of them, because they're always clowning and things like that. They remind me of myself.
That's what's up. See, I like that. So also, you did mention throughout your journey, you said you went from the Southwest to the West. So, are you still in that area of town now? No,
I'm actually in Deer Park.
Okay.
I moved out of the city about almost 5-6 years ago. I moved to Pasadena. I was living with my mom in Cypress to get myself back together. I was a single mother, and I just have never been the type to just kind of. I need to have my own place, so I ended up moving to Pasadena. A friend of mine ended up finding an apartment there closer to my job, and after I had got promoted and things like that, I moved to Pasadena, stayed there for 4 years, and then after 4 years, I moved to Deer Park, which it had better schools and things like that, and so it's a better opportunity for my children.
So, going through this turbulent time that we're going through with COVID, how have you adjusted in order to, number one, stay sane, and number one, continue your journey?
Well, I can't do anything but adjust, because this is the new norm now. You know what I mean? My 7-year-old actually has a weak immune system, so I'm kind of leery about allowing her to kind of be around so many people and things like that. She's back at school now, and they're taking the safety precautions and things like that, but the minute it's there, I have to pull her out, because anytime she gets sick, I have to admit her in the hospital. So, I just try to be cautious of that and just try to stay safe. Just stay clean and sanitized, and just make sure I'm doing what they're asking to do in order for it not to spread in my home.
I got you. So, Lord willing, everything going to be all right.
Everything going to be all right.
All right. So, everyone at home, what we're going to do now, we're going to shoot to a short commercial break. But when we come back, we'll have our next illustrious guest. We'd like to thank you, Sharelle.
Thank you.
All right. But stay tuned. She'll be back with us a little bit later on. But you're now tuned in with World Views with Ken Mills on the Boss Up Houston Network.
Devin, did you know Geico is now offering an extra 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies?
Okay.
That's 15% on top of what Geico could already save you. So what are you waiting for? DJ Khaled to be your motivational coach?
Yo, Devin, remember to brush in a circle motion.
Thank you, DJ Khaled.
Tiny circles, Devin. Do another one. Another one.
Is this good?
Put in that work, Devin. Don't give up.
Geico. Save an extra 15% when you switch by October 7th.
Breakfast at Auntie D's. Take one. That's all it's gonna take.
Ricky Daddy's on the beat.
Wine, dime, killing time. Heard it through the grapevine. The type of you that like to get dime anytime. Wine, dime, killing time. Heard it through the grapevine. You the type of you that like to get dime anytime. Wine, dime, killing time. Heard it through the grapevine. And you the type of you that like to get dime anytime. Gun, please sipper, Moet, Patron sipper. You the type of girl that like to pull down the zipper.
I like that shoes.
Hit to say appetizer. After this, I'm digging your thighs. Real debonair's eye. Look in your eyes. You got a smirk upon your
Go sit down, baby. Go sit down.
and I'm impressed with your waist, petite shape in your thigh. Compliment you on your beauty and your hair and your booty. Hey.
Here you go, baby.
Wine, dine, killing time. Heard it through the grapevine. And you the type of dude that like to get down anytime. Comfort zone with you.
Cut.
Welcome back, everybody. Now we'll introduce our next guest here. Now, when I met this young lady, it was something about her. Her passion was just coming through her voice. She's very versed as a comedian, and we're glad to have her here with World Views. So, bring it to you now. We have Miss DDT. How are you?
Hi, wonderful love. How you doing?
All right. Welcome. So, Dee, I understand that you hail from South Louisiana.
May I? All the way down there in Homer.
Homer?
All the way down there. The bayous and the swamps and everything. That's me.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you French?
No, I'm not French by any means. Oh, no. I'm sure somewhere down the line I am Acadian, like the actual Cajuns that came down from Canada.
Right.
So on my granddaddy's side, but it didn't take. I promise.
Okay. So, throughout your journey, you made it here to Texas, but Houston wasn't your first stop.
No, definitely not. I was in Dallas for 6 years where I started doing comedy.
Okay, so what propelled you into comedy?
Like, people ask me that question and I never quite know the answer. It's just a thing that, the first thing I ever told my mom I wanted to do, I was like 4, maybe 5 years old, and Def Comedy Jam was on the TV in the front. And I heard my mom and them laughing, and then they went in the back. And so when they went in the back, I snuck to see what was going on. And on the TV, I see Adele Givens. And she was doing that, am I a fucking lady or what? She was doing that joint. And I felt that in my spirit. Like I knew exactly what she meant. Saying that the way she was saying it and the way she was like walking back and forth on stage, she ain't give a fuck. It's like, babe, I could cuss as much as I want and I'm still a lady. You can't tell me nothing. And that's when I was like, the next day I told my mom I want to be a stand-up comedian when I grow up.
Okay.
It was the weirdest thing.
All right, so I take it that you were well into adulthood when you started, but you had that aspiration from the beginning.
Yeah, I did. Well, you know, like I said, I'm from South Louisiana, so we didn't have an entertainment industry. Especially not at home. And then I went to school in New Orleans, and even in New Orleans it wasn't a comedy scene or nothing. It wasn't accessible. So it was never something that people made me feel like I could actually do. Like it wasn't practical. People like, you smart, be a lawyer, be a doctor. I tried to do both of those things and I failed miserably, and I flunked out of college like 3 or 4 times until I just never went back. And it was just like, I was at a point where, you know, I didn't have anything to do. And I was like, well, you failed so many times at trying to be something that you're not. Why won't you try being exactly what you are?
So why Dallas?
Well, actually, I say Dallas, but the first time I ever did comedy was in San Antonio. So I moved to San Antonio first. And all these times I moved to Texas, I never want to move to Texas. I don't like it here. But, like, fate always drags me here. And so this is the third time. But I was in San Antonio because I couldn't find a job. Always the same thing. Can't find a job in Louisiana. So I tried Texas. And I got on stage for the first time at LOL Comedy Club in San Antonio. And I was like, okay, well, I'm doing this now. This is it.
All right. So, when you first got on stage, were you nervous?
Yeah, I guess I was, because I was drinking that whole night. I was trying to, like, do that thing, like, let the Jack Daniel loosen me up, but my nerves were so bad, I felt completely sober. Like, I wasn't the least bit drunk, and then it all hit me when I got off stage and I got home and the room was just spinning, because I had been slamming straight Jack Daniel all night, but my nerves were so much that it didn't even touch me until I got off the stage.
I take it that first time went well, didn't it?
I guess. Well, of course, as it always goes, you go on an open mic at a place like an actual comedy club like LOL, so the list is long. I was at the end of the list because I was new. They had all of 5 people sitting there, and it was like 5 women. And men had been clowning them all night. And so I basically just talked to them. I forgot all the material I was going to do. I talked to them. I was talking about the dudes that was talking about them, like how they ain't shit and they ain't got no business talking about y'all like that and y'all better than me. And I had them rolling. Like, as far as I was concerned, I killed all 5 people that was in there.
Okay. All right. So, as you know, we try to keep it a little bit PG.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
but no, you fine. Look,
I'm not PG at all.
Cause I know. That's why I just let you go flow with it, cause I know.
I'm not the least bit PG, but now I know.
Look, so from what I can discern and from when I met you, you deal with a more mainstream type crowd.
You mean white people? You can say it. They know who they are. But you know, I pretty much will make anybody laugh. I'll tell jokes in front of anybody. It really doesn't matter to me. But I noticed that I'll get a better reception from the more like mainstream, you know, right, mostly white crowds, or even like younger black people, like really, you know, like the millennials and the exennials and stuff. Like those people who are younger, they're more into me.
Right. So. And do you feel that's because of your content and your presence as well?
Yeah, definitely, because I'm very much like the millennial black nerd, and that type of thing translates a certain way to certain people, and I'm cool with that.
See, I envy you. Can I tell you why I envy you? I'm going to be perfectly honest. Yeah, Dad. But I'm going to be honest. So, I can never really tell people that I watch Lovecraft Country or
why not?
Or watch Game of Thrones or, you know what I'm saying, or read the books or anything like that.
Why not? Everybody does that.
Yeah.
I never read the books. Like, I just watched Game of Thrones for the first time this year during the quarantine. But, you know, I've always been into, like, comic books and cartoons and video games and stuff ever since I was little. So that's just who I am, you know. It's just, I can't really hide it.
Right.
So.
Right.
So you can do that too. Nobody can.
Well,
it's 2020.
Look, I'm going to try, but it comes from my past, like why I had to hold that sacred.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and I know, like growing up, especially like in the South and like the hood or whatever, you got to be a certain type of way.
Yeah.
And I wasn't that type of way, which is why I was always like distant from everybody. I was always on my own in my own little world. I didn't have many friends. My friends were my cousins, like the people who understood me and, you know, who really got me. I was always in like the gifted classes and the honors classes, so I was never around black people at school. But at home, I was surrounded by black people who kind of let me be me, so right. I guess I had that.
So, I'll ask you, what is your favorite sci-fi movie?
Ooh, snap. My favorite sci-fi movie. Now when we come into sci-fi, are we talking about sci-fi fantasy, action, like what's...
Either one.
My favorite sci-fi movie has to be Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And I love the books. I read all of those. I love Douglas Adams. He's really, really funny.
I got you. So, being that, you know, you deal with more diverse crowds, have you encountered any obstacles?
Well, I still have a vagina, and it's still black. So, yes, there are definitely obstacles. You know, people, the way that I am, like you said, I come off a certain way. So when people receive me, they see me as this person who has an intimidating personality, and I'm really just, you know, I just show up as myself all the time. And I guess the way that people can tell I'm not about to take no stuff from nobody. And so automatically they tense up. Mm-hmm. And it becomes, oh, you're abrasive. Can you tone it down? Tone what down? Like, so it's always this undertone of like the angry, aggressive black woman. Like there's always that really covert messaging that's kind of projected on me. But, you know, I don't let it bother me. I like that people are afraid of me.
And do you find that you may have allies, someone who can help you break down those barriers?
Oh, a lot. Mostly black women. Like, black women in comedy have helped me so much, and just having a community with them. And, you know, women in general, of all races, have embraced me in a different kind of way that I really, really appreciate. So I'm not necessarily concerned that it'll stop me from doing anything. I know that my progress, I guess, it's going to go a little different than other people who are, you know, less controversial, let's say. Some people who are, you know, less rough around the edges than me, but I'm with it. It's my journey, so I love it.
This is just my opinion, and I wouldn't say it's fact, but I think most of the audience would agree that you're not too rough around the edges. You fine with us.
Yeah, I know, but people just like, see, this is the thing. You're getting Deanna in this setting, and I'm not on stage. I'm not going up on stage. And people approach me in a certain way. You know, people will talk to you in a certain... I don't let people talk to me any kind of way. You cool. You a regular... You talk to me like a person.
Yes.
You've never come at me like, oh, you're a female comedian. You never come at me like, oh, so you a girl, and I have to put you in that category, and I got to treat you a certain kind of way, and I can take certain liberties because you're a woman, and I feel like you have a place. So when people talk to me like that, yeah, you will get a different type of Deanna. But, you know, people who just treat me like a person, it's never going to be no beef.
All right. Now, so Didi, I'll ask you this one last question. Out of the many places that you perform, what is your favorite one?
Ooh. Well, that's kind of hard, but I love performing in Denton, Texas. And it's very small, and I miss it very much, but that's where I used to perform a lot in Dallas. It's north of, for people who don't know, it's north of Dallas. But it's like small college town, I believe was that UNT? I think UNT
North
is,
Texas.
Yeah. So college town, a bunch of young kids, you know, very alternative type of crowd. They all into, you know, the punk rock stuff, and they all have a band and all that other stuff. And they're all very creative minded. So they really embraced me, and they really understood me. And so every time I went on stage, it was just so much fun. It never mattered how big a smaller crowd was, the venue, we just always had like fun. So Denton, Texas is my favorite.
All right. So really want to thank you for coming and have this nice conversation with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Now, when we return, we'll have our last illustrious guest join us, and I promise you, you want to stay tuned for this one. We'll give it up for DDT, but when we return, we'll come back with World Views with Ken Mills on Boss Up Houston Network.
Years. And I've learned a lot from Mayor's Marcelo. We have a lot of conversations. We have 4 candidates with 4 different visions for staffers. Mine is just stay in the course because it works. So, how long have you lived here? 5 years. Did you live somewhere in Stafford before that? Or? No, you got to Stafford as quick as you could. I love it. Yeah, that's great. And thank you so much.
See you. Thank you for giving this sign. I'm
thank you and your
Yeah, we
family.
will support
It's a
you.
pleasure.
Yeah, you will get all the support from this area.
Good. Thank you. All right, here we are, still on the road to Campaign Trail in Stafford. We're going to check on some local businesses to see how they're doing during this pandemic. Okay?
Yeah.
Cecil Willis, I'm running for Mayor of Stafford. I'll drop those by.
Oh, okay.
You been doing okay during this pandemic?
Yeah, okay. Everything will be okay.
Yeah, well, it seems that everybody in Stafford has learned to adapt how to operate their business. And let's go on down here to Best Burger. One of the longest restaurants in the history of Stafford. I remember when my kids were here, we come to Best Burger, and that's been 25 years ago. So they're still here and still doing good.
Alright, and we're back. Now, sometimes people say the best for last, but all of my guests were the best. But this is a sister to me.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I will tell you about her, she is no holds barred, no filter. And I say one of the best comedians and people in Houston.
Thank you.
I'll give it up now for MC Lotto. How you doing?
Hey, y'all heard that, man. Give it up for MC Lotto. What you doing? Clap it up. You know, y'all out there. Clap it up. You know, if you watching on the screen right now, then clap it up. Stop what you're doing. Put the burger, put the drink down, and clap it up for MC Lotto, like the man said.
Now, when you say MC Lotto, that's unique. Where did you come up with that? How did you come up with that name?
Man, I've been somewhere where I was about to perform. I was in Atlanta one time, and they was like, I don't know if she about to tell jokes or what, or whoever this is. I've never seen a name like this. It's very unique. MC Lotto, that's not a comedy name. But I came up with it. I didn't know that I was going to do stand-up, and somebody was like, what's your stage name? At the time, I didn't have a stage name, and my Instagram used to be, I just want to hit the lotto. Or no, it was, I hit the lotto. I moved to Houston, originally from Omaha, Nebraska. So when I moved to Houston, it was like a start over. What happened when you win the lottery? You get to start life over. So that's why my name used to be I Hit the Lotto, because I moved to Houston. So I didn't have a stage name the first time I did open mic, but they asked me what my stage name was. And I'm thinking, I always wanted to MC and host stuff. I'm thinking MC Lotto. Not knowing 4 years later, people would be calling me Lotto and MC. I created this, bro. Like, that's so crazy to me.
That is crazy, because, I mean, I thought, I was like, hey, maybe she had an influence on MC Light or something like that. Because, I mean, the way you hit the mic, it's almost like a rapper.
Yeah. I used to rap.
Oh, really?
But when I rapped, that wasn't my stage name. I rapped in middle school and high school.
Okay.
So I won a talent show once. I believe my senior year in high school, I won a talent show. This girl sung a hook for me, and I rapped. I came out of a jumpsuit with a, more seductive outfit. People were shocked because it wasn't like I was rapping every day in the lunchroom and all that kind of stuff. But I honestly was on a TV show at school, in high school. So, and I did a couple plays and stuff like that.
Okay. So, getting back to your journey here in Houston, what brought you here?
So, I really needed to start life over, in a sense. My mom moved here when I was younger. So, I would consider myself dual city person, in a sense. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, born there, moved here when I was like 8, stayed here until like 13, moved back to Omaha, and now I've been here for 10 years as an adult. I moved back here at 25, so I've been here, 10 years. I'm 35 now, so, I feel like I've been raised in 2 different places.
So, when you started to venture into comedy, when you jumped off the porch, so to speak, What was that first time like, and where did you start?
Man, I started at the Duck Off here in Houston, Texas, at an open mic with Leroy the Third. It's a brother to me in comedy. That's my first time ever doing stand up. I invited my best friend, and she invited a friend of hers, and they came out. They pumped me up. They recorded me. I told the man my stage name was MC Lotto. I got up there and told jokes about Charmin toilet paper. What? That was my big joke. Toilet paper.
I want to hear about the tags that came along with the joke.
Man, I think my concept is just because it was in January-ish around the time, and I was just like, as an adult, you look, for gifts, you want shit like, toilet paper. Can you buy me some, foil? Can you buy me like this? That stuff is kind of expensive. Like, I'm not even looking for like, how they give you nightgowns and stuff. Right. I don't want none of that. Can you buy me some Charmin at $12, a big double, triple pound? That's the kind of stuff that I want, and that was one of the first jokes that I ever told.
So, I'm glad that you brought up Leroy the Third. Shout out to him. Very great comedian. So you're 1/4 of the comic crew.
Yeah.
That consists of Leroy the Third, Lil Darryl, Ray, etc., and yourself.
The only female in the comedy group, yeah.
So how did that pan out?
So we have a manager that manages the group, and he had a group previously, and that group dismantled. They kind of wanted to go their separate ways, and because he was the one that created it, he kept the name. So he rebuilt the group. He rebuilt it with Little Daryl was the first comic in that group, and then he saw me and Leroy doing an event. He thought we were both hilarious, and he was like, so he got Little Daryl on, and he begged Little Daryl for some time before Little Daryl was like, okay, I'll check it out. Then he said, do you know those two? Can we add them? And so then later, Ray kind of got in the group. There was a different fourth member, and it just didn't work out with that member. So then Ray was there to literally step in, and the dynamic that we have is unmatched. It's like you know what I mean? It's going on 3 years. There's never been any, animosity or drama. Like, there could be a debate, but we really genuinely are brothers and sisters in the sense that when we go on road trips, when we have shows out of town, it's just a good, it's just good vibes for all four of us. We're all four different types of comedians, but back in the day, they used to have the comics groups. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of comedy groups out there. So we're a comedian group that the best thing is that you get 4 comics, and you only got to pay, you pay the manager, and then we have set prices that we receive from that, and everybody does their role. Whether I host it or whether I open up or middle, like there's nobody's bigger than the group. We work throughout all of our schedules. If he's booked, then we all, then we can't do a show that day.
So I also noticed that with you guys group, you guys travel to different states and do a multitude of things. One thing, namely, that I did see, you guys went to Chicago, Arkansas, everywhere. And it was a gentleman that came back from Chicago, and he said he loved y'all so much that he had to come see it for himself.
Yeah. So I think he's coming back in town. We have a show on the 24th. I just seen that he was posting saying he was coming back. And we have our next out-of-town show will be in North Carolina in November. November 14th will be in North Carolina. If you're in North Carolina, you know somebody, let me know so I can make sure that they know to get some tickets.
Okay. Now, that's not the only thing that you have going on. You have Victoria's Seaside Bistro in Galveston, Texas, right?
Come on. How about we're in Houston.
Yeah.
That's where we, because we never know who's watching, but we in Houston, and I do a room once a month in Galveston, Texas. It's only been going on, this is my second one, so I'm going on my third one now. And in a nutshell, I get there, and this brother and his wife, this is an hour drive. They're there waiting for the show that I've been promoting and telling people that I have coming up, unbeknownst to me. That's support, man. Coming to check me out in Galveston, Texas, where I got shows here in Houston that you can always pull up on. You pull up on me in Galveston. Ken Mills, you're doing something. You're doing something special, brother.
Thank you. And I would say this: most of the reason why we went, because my wife said she wanted to come. My wife has bought into.
That's right, women, we running it.
Right, my wife has bought into your content.
I love it.
Yes, and if you hadn't noticed, we do a lot of supporting here as well.
Yeah.
But one thing that I did notice as I scanned through your social media, and I've been following you for a while, you had this thing on Fridays that you do. Well, fantasy is reality.
Come on now, Catfish Friday. You know that's how I got this gig.
Okay.
In Galveston, I do I put my head on bodies that may or may not be mine. The viewers can check in and they can view whether or not this is my body. You know, make your own. They don't look like my body is what I can say. You know, some of the poses are seductive. Some of them are just awkward poses. And my face is always placed on these poses, and I call it Catfish Friday. And the person at Seaside in Galveston said, man, I have some banging catfish. I want you to come down and do a Catfish Friday comedy show. Something that I created, made another businessman see it, and so now I can get paid off of it and bring other comedians there to where they can eat off of it as well.
So I think she touching on how detailed and how private this thing is. So at Seaside Bistro, they offer an exclusive experience. From the time that you walk in the door, they have specialized menus with her name on it.
Yeah.
With her selection of what is on the menu.
Okay.
And then from that point, no one from the outside is coming in. Only the people that have the tickets or have been invited or performing.
Yeah.
Are only there. So it's definitely a safe place to be, and also a great getaway for anybody that wants to go to.
It really. So my slogan, if people don't know, and we were probably gonna get there, is I just want to win. It's something I like to say, you know, if I'm towards the end of performing, because I don't like to change the ambiance. But it's not just about me winning. Like, I really want to see everybody around me win. That's something, that's a slogan that really came very organically. It's just a coincidence that my stage name is MC Lotto, but I would do interviews similar to this, and people would ask, like, what you want? What do you want from this? What do you want? Where do you see yourself? And at the time, I couldn't put a monetary number. I couldn't say, man, I want to get 3 houses. Like, none of that stuff really resonated. But ultimately, like, one thing that came out is I just want to win. And so that's something like, you know, being a person that comes from a working family. My parents worked factory jobs. That's their career. You know, some people have careers as financial advisors, as a doctor, a lawyer. My parents worked in manufacturing. I see them go to work all the time. They don't never take days off. Like, they hard-working individuals. They wake up early in the morning and go. They work 12-hour days. They come home smelling like the factory, and they got to shower before they do anything. So I adapted that. I'm a working individual. Like, that's what I knew. I knew that I had to work. I didn't know I could do stand-up. Wasn't nobody out there like, hey, man, you know, I called my grandma one day. I was like, hey, grandma, you know, I've been kind of entertaining y'all, like, every year. They paying me to be me now. Like, you owe me money. Like, I've been funny for a minute. Like, but I didn't know. I didn't know that this was possible. But just to tie it all together, I feel like a part of that, just being a working person, there's always this wheel that we're on, and you can't take a day off from that wheel because it's going to affect your bills. And so I want to get off the wheel, and I just want to win. And I really want to see everybody around me win. Like, I think that it's enough out here for everybody to win. And I had an instance where somebody was like, in a nutshell, they were upset about the fact that we had shows on the same day, and they felt like we were in competition. And me and you could eat at the same table, or we could be eating at 2 different tables and be eating at the same time. And that's the thing that, for some reason, everybody don't get it.
I'll say this, and we'll close out. There's always meat on the bone for everybody.
Yeah, I heard you say that before.
That's right. Because if you eat greedy, you're going to lose greedy too.
Hey, I love it.
Because the feet that you step on today will be the behind you have to kiss tomorrow.
So, he ain't done. He got a bunch of them.
So, what we'll do now, we're going to bring back the entire panel here, but we're going to go to a brief commercial break, but you are tuning in with World Views with Ken Mills on Boss Up Houston Network.
Everything that I heard today, I definitely think we can lawyer you up today. Tune into the Lawyer Up with Steve podcast on the Boss Up Houston Network. Come get your questions answered. We'll see you then. And remember, Lawyer Up.
All right, and we're back. Now we have the entire panel here. So we'll open up with this one question here, and I'll first start with Sharelle. So, given the situation that's going on now with Breonna Taylor, how safe do you feel as being an African-American woman in the United States?
I definitely feel safe. I can't say that a situation that has happened will make me feel unsafe. I'm just more aware. You know, you definitely want to keep some protection at home, you know what I mean, and things like that, because it's like these days police officers are opening up fire on whoever. They don't care who is behind the closed doors or who's behind the wall. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely aware of my surroundings, and considering that I have 3 daughters, I'm even more aware. You know what I mean? I already have a son, and of course he's going to be under the radar because he's a black guy. You know what I mean? And when you're up and coming in these days, times are changing. You know what I mean? And I never thought that at this age and this day of time that we would have to deal with something like that. But unfortunately we do. But this time we're going to be prepared for it.
Okay. And you, Lotto?
First off, I gotta follow that, huh?
Yes, you do have
and
to follow
you're beautiful.
That. Well, thank you.
I ain't afraid of nothing. Really? You couldn't shouldn't have told us that you was gonna start with that.
No, I'm scared.
Oh, thank you. Be a little bit more vulnerable, because I'm scared and I'm alone. So no, because the people need to know that I ain't got nobody. I need somebody to watch, to hold, to fight, to shoot.
Can I put y'all her number?
Yes, 832-005. No. Honestly, it is a serious matter, and we still can. We at a point where it needs to be said. Can we please arrest the police officers that killed Breonna Taylor? Murdered Breonna Taylor, a woman that was sleeping. Amen. Like, she was like not harming nobody, and the problem is it was an accident. And that's the problem that people don't realize. Like, I got a friend that's a lawyer that I had to have a conversation with about it. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, the reason why they're not locked up is because it was an accident. They accidentally went to the wrong place. Mm-hmm. And that is ultimately the issue. The no-knock is they can do that. Because they didn't, technically though, they went about it the wrong way. Hold them people accountable. That's more than me, whether or not I'm afraid or not. This already happened, and that's why I'm more passionate about expressing that fear. This has happened. We need to deal with this before I can talk about how I feel about it. Right. We ain't dealt with that. And plus, Sharelle already said she ain't scared, and I don't want people to know that I'm scared.
I have a brother that's an officer, so I definitely don't judge officers based upon their skin color or anything like that. Because my brother is at risk. He's a black man, but he's also an officer. So I can't sit and say, well, forget the police, and I sympathize as well. You know what I mean? It don't matter.
Sharelle, you don't hype these up if you see a black officer coming. Oh, girl, watch me get out of this.
I can't hype nothing. It's all the ball. I can't hype. You can hype yours up. I cannot hype.
If it's a white officer, I'm like, damn, we about to get this ticket. If it's a brother, I'm like, we gonna try. We gonna try.
I don't know. The white boys like me. The black dudes don't be showing me no love. Black police officers, but the white ones.
Show my girl some love.
They never showed me any. Because I had warrants. They just took me to jail.
I know that's right. Hey man, they just took my
the search charges come out, girl.
What come to your response to that question?
Well, I just got off probation, amen. So I'm feeling.
Amen. You did say that.
I've been discharge papers received in the mail.
Hello.
Thank you, Jesus.
Hallelujah.
Won't he do it? Won't he make a way? But as it pertains to Breonna Taylor, and not to minimize her situation, but as it pertains to being a black woman in this country, the word safe is very subjective.
Yeah, for sure.
And relative.
I think that no one's safe.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the safe mean for us anyway? When have we ever been, like, because we feel a certain way about everywhere we go. We feel we have to present ourselves a certain way because it may not be safe for me to have my hair like this here. It may not be safe for me to dress like this here. It may not be safe for me to say this here or use this inflection in my tone or be this aggressive with my voice here. So it's always, we always adjusting.
Come on here.
We always adjusting. You know what I'm saying? We always got to tread this fine line as black women in this country. And on top of that, we're disenfranchised more than almost anybody else other than like Latino women and Native women.
She's spitting.
So like financially, you know what I'm saying, economically, just in the criminal justice system, we're not as protected. We die at a higher rate for domestic violence issues. It's like being safe as a black, we create our own safety. We safe in our homes. We supposed to be. Breonna has showed us different. Atiana Jefferson has shown us different. We're not even safe in our houses. So safety is all a matter of how much you can ignore the fact that you ain't ever safe. And I ignore it every day. I just do me.
But you just taught me something.
I'm just living, girl. I keep a blade on me.
Is that why you got the little situation?
Yeah, I stay with it. I stay with that thing on me. And you know what I'm saying? I'm about to give me a 380 out just so don't mess with me. Like I'm not.
She one day off papers and she getting her 380.
You heard me?
Hey.
Look. Baby.
Now you see who be riding with me. All right.
I see.
So now I'll come back to you, Dee Dee. So what is your social media so folks can follow you?
I am on the Instagrams and the Twitters, DE_DE_T, DDT. And on Facebook, you can find me DEDET Comedy, like at DEDET Comedy. And Also Dee Terrio, but I'm not going to even get into how to spell Terrio. But yeah, at DE_DE_T.
Okay. Awesome. Y'all probably got it scrolling across because I don't know. This is before I give my social media. Shout out to Kim Mills. Yes. This is immaculate. I never have a standard or I don't set like it's probably gonna be like this because I've been surprised so many times. And this and I love not having the expectation because I'm wild. They got baked chicken with the skin that come off and on. They got. I'm not gonna tell y'all everything that they got, baby. And it's immaculate. They got a whole nother room for production. Yeah. It's quiet on set. They got the lights. They made me look a little skinnier. That's what the lady in the back told me. I don't know. When I get to see it, I'm gonna see whether or not the lady was telling the truth. Because she told me she was gonna take about 7 pounds off me.
Small waistline. I was checking you out. I was looking at your
she
butt.
Told me she was on.
Lotto had no.
She must have told you too. But listen, y'all can find me at mc.lotto. That's MC Lotto on all social media platforms. And honestly, they can hit my cash app. That's comedy.mc.
Word, get the cash.
You can catch me on Instagram. It's RELLE_THO. It's Reldo, and I also have a second page. I just feel like it's IJUSFELLLYKE. Both pages are open. Feel free to check me out. I do have a show on October 11th. I've got an opportunity to get back on the stage and grace the stage, and it's going to be at what is it called? Showtime Bar and Lounge.
Yeah.
And I'll be there October 11th, so come check me out there. 8 o'clock. It's $5 to get in. Y'all got $5.
All right, come on now, y'all got $5
because you cannot come with me and get in free. I'm doing
the show. They still doing that.
Low key.
Off of $5, girl, just come about
definitely. And thank you, Ken, for the opportunity. He definitely, when I got on the stage, thank you for believing in me and seeing something in me, because ever since I met you, you've been trying to help put me on the map, and I appreciate that.
And you are hilarious.
Thank you.
So y'all be on the lookout for Sharelle, a natural talent. And I think that because I've seen you from the very beginning, and I've seen you on his show. My bad. Let me just stop. But in a nutshell, she's very hilarious, and the thing about it is, she just got to keep going.
Thank you.
And that's all that is.
Thank you.
My bad.
Now, thank you, ladies. Now, this has been a lively discussion. I truly enjoyed this episode, and I thank y'all, and I appreciate all of the feedback and the kudos. But one thing I'll say is this, and I'll start from the top. So Sharelle came on. She told us her journey in comedy, also her upbringing on the Southwest side, and where she's going now. We also had Dee come on, tell us about her journey leaving from South Louisiana, her being a very eclectic person, and also her journeys within Texas. And also we had Lotto. Lotto came in. Lotto broke down how the comic crew was formulated and her present pursuits and her aspirations. The reason why I call this the Fire episode, for one reason. All three of these ladies, as you can see, encompass a high level of passion. They serious about everything that they do. The reason why I asked this question about Breonna Taylor is this. The woman, the black woman in the black society is sacred. Number one, they give life. Number one, they give us our first lessons. They give us our game, whether you're male or female. And it's our job as black men to protect them at all costs.
Come on now.
Now, some of us may have life misconstrued and think, oh, I can't provide for the woman because they'll be deemed as tricky. No, that's your job to provide. You're supposed to be the hunter and gatherer. The woman is supposed to be the helpmate. It says so in the Bible.
Come on now.
Now, that's not to subjugate the woman's role. The woman's role is very high. Me as a man, sometimes, I'm not going to lie to you, in my earlier years, I wasn't clear on my role. Therefore, I didn't protect this strong. But I always provided, but I had that misconstrued too. I thought providing would be a leverage point in order for me to get what other carnal natures that I wanted. But that wasn't the case. My role is to provide, my role is to protect. Sometimes as men, we have to understand that, look, the reason why we're the most hunted as being black men is because we so strong.
Come on now.
And we got to make sure that we don't project that strength onto the woman. We need to handle the woman gently.
For sure. For sure.
And with each of these women and our interactions, there has been no sideways action. It's always been agape love, sister and brother. So they each can tell you that when I reach out to them, it's on a professional level, and I want them to succeed. Just like MC Lotto said, I just want everybody to win.
I want to see everybody win.
So with that being said, I'll say something for the comedy community. If you ever see somebody disrespect a female comedian, check them.
Check them, please. Check her, ho. Check her.
Hold the women down. And as for the black men out here, think of your job as being protect and serve. Because with great power come leadership, and with leadership you have to be a great servant. Yeah. Jesus taught us that.
Yeah.
So that's what we need to do. So as we move forward here, I want you to open your minds, open your hearts, and stay safe out here. It's Ken Mills here with Boss Up Houston Network with World Views. Now next week, I'll tell y'all about next week. As we talk about protecting, we're going to have a whole episode of politicians.
Ooh, go ahead, Ken.
So what we're going to do at that point...
I hope you clean up after.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because it's going to get real. It's going to get real.
I see what you're saying.
Look, it's going to get real. Yeah. So part of the protecting is get the real truth out here and let's discern and who's in our best favor.
That's going to be dope. I can't wait to tune into that.
Let's find out.
So thank y'all for tuning in. Comment, like, share, and subscribe, please. Let us know what you thought of the episode, and I'll definitely make sure the feedback gets to the ladies here. Y'all have a great one.
Just like Nick, just like she said, I don't cook, I don't clean, but I still need that ring.